Welcome to Room 3, Physics. I would like to talk about a few problems that we covered this year. One of the problems we covered way back was a conversion problem that had to do with this idea of the Jiffy. Now the Jiffy was defined as a new time unit, and it has been defined in many different ways. The way that we defined it was the time it takes light to travel 1 centimeter. And what is that in seconds? Well, we started with a basic formula for speed. Speed equals distance over time. And for speed, I use the symbol v. We use that quite a bit in physics. Usually refers to velocity, but in this case, we're using it for speed. And I use d for distance and t for time. And I know what the distance is in this formula. It's 1 centimeter. I need to convert it to meters to stay in SI units. I also know what the speed is. It's the speed of light. And I'm going to use the speed of light in free space, and I'm going to round it to one significant digit. I'm going to use the number 3 times 10 to the 8th meters per second. And I'm going to convert centimeters to meters by dividing by 100. I move the decimal 2 to the left, so it becomes 0.01 meters. And I solve this formula for the time. That'll give me the amount of seconds in a jiffy. So let's do that. Over here, I'll rewrite my formula. Time equals distance divided by speed. Distance divided by speed. In fact, if you take any distance and you divide it by the speed that you're going, let's assume your speed stays constant, you can figure out the time of travel. So let's plug in our numbers. What's the distance? It's 0.01 meters. 0.01 meters. That's 1 centimeter. And it's divided by the speed of light. The symbol we usually use for the speed of light is c. But I'm going to write it in scientific notation, 3 times 10 to the 8th meters per second. And then when I look at this math problem, that's all it is now, is a division problem. The units cancel out. Meters cancels out meters here, and the seconds come upstairs. And when you work this out, it comes out to be approximately 3 times 10 to the negative 11 seconds. That's how many seconds makes up 1 jiffy. That's a very small number. Because light is has a very, very fast speed. It's going to cover this tiny distance just like that. Now, the other question we dealt with was a conversion problem. How many jiffies are in a minute? Well, we can use this as our conversion factor. This is telling us that 1 jiffy equals 3 times 10 to the negative 11 seconds. That's conversion factor. We could write it two different ways. We could write it jiffies per second or seconds per jiffy. I'm going to write it as jiffies per second. And then I'm going to convert the seconds to minutes. And then I'll have jiffies per minute. So here's how I do it. I'm going to take the reciprocal of this number. It's going to look like this. Jiffy, 1 jiffy, per 3 times 10 to the negative 11 seconds. And now I just want to convert seconds in the denominator here to minutes. And the way I do that is I'm going to have seconds upstairs to cancel out seconds downstairs here. And I'll put minutes on the bottom. Then I'll have jiffies per minute. So how many seconds make up a minute? 60 seconds per 1 minute. The units cancel out here. Seconds cancels out with seconds. Now jiffies per minute. So I'm going to divide 60 by 3 times 10 to the negative 11. What happens here is I get 2 times 10 to the 12th. And that's jiffies, that many jiffies per minute. And that's a very large number, which makes sense. So there you go. That's really a simple conversion problem. We had one definition. The jiffy was defined as the time it takes light to travel 1 centimeter. We converted centimeters into meters by moving the decimal over 2 to the left or dividing by 100. Recall that 100 centimeters equals 1 meter. We used the speed of light here in free space to one significant digit, 3 times 10 to the 8th meters per second. We used the simple formula here for speed. Speed equals distance over time. We solved that for the time. So time equals distance over speed. Once we did the math here and figured out how many seconds make up a jiffy, We use that as conversion factor to figure out the second question. The second part question was, how many Jiffies are in a minute? In a simple conversion problem. Thank you.